Hi everyone. So today our lesson is reading recipe and measuring. So let's read your Thursday for cooking. We're just taking my computer. Okay. Number one, miss you all. Number two, our purpose is right here. You guys can read through it. Hopefully we can get through some just basic kitchen terminology and just understanding of recipes. So I want you to think about right now, what is the purpose of understanding how to read a recipe? You can just think about it yourself. So reading a recipe. We have there, and then numbers of servings. Why does the number of servings even matter? Like, why do you need to know that? If you have a bigger family, would you have to double or half the recipe? And if you have a smaller family, would you have to double or half the recipe? What are the 8 steps to following a recipe correctly? Well, number one, reading it from top to bottom first. Most of my students will always read the ingredients, and then they mix them all together. Then they finally get down to the directions and they go, whoops, forgot to do that. So read through it all the way. Highlight cooking terms, list equipment needed like we were doing when we first started. Preheat the oven if need be, so it's not going to be wasting of time. And measure exactly, especially if you are baking something, which this week, Thursday, my hope is for you to bake something. Okay, so measuring is going to be a big thing. The most important steps to reading a recipe is reading the recipe, all right? Or creating a recipe is reading it. And then number two, I always put in there, wash your hands, okay? Making sure that we're thoroughly clean and clean up as we go. So flour is one of those staple items when it comes to baking. And one of the biggest no-nos is not packing flour. We don't want to pack flour because it'll ultimately make your product more dense. It'll make it hard, less tender, I guess you want to say. How should you measure flour instead? Spoon it into the measuring cup and then level it off with a straight edge of some sort. When cutting a recipe in half or doubling a recipe, the cooking temperature remains the same, but the size of the cooking pan and the length of time will be affected. So think about that. If you are halving a recipe, let's say we're making brownies, and use the same dish that you would if you were having the full recipe, what would happen to those brownies? When baking with a glass dish, you need to reduce or lower the oven temperature by 25 degrees because it cooks faster. There's 2 types of measuring cups. We got our dry measuring cups and our liquid measuring cups. And we'll get into more detail about those later. How do you measure the following? Well, there's a video right here if you want to watch it. Up to you. But these are pretty much the usual ingredients that you would have when you're baking. We have the powdered sugar or just regular sugar. Spoon it in, level it off. Salt, usually just using a measuring spoon. Brown sugar has molasses in it, so you want to pack it. Shortening and peanut butter, you can pack, and then you can also do a water displacement, and the video is right here if you choose to watch it. Oil, milk, and water, you pour in a liquid measuring cup on a flat surface. So our standard measuring cups and measuring spoons. Measuring cups come in 4 different sizes. You might at home have different sizes. This is the standard that we use at school and usually the standard that comes in packages. But example, at home, you might have 1/8 of a cup. But at school, we just had the staple 4. Measuring spoons, we have the staple 4 right here also. Again, at home, you might have more. You might have 1/8 of a teaspoon, and you might have 1/2 of a tablespoon. Just kind of makes measuring go easier and faster, but at school, this is what we had. And at home, you might not have some of these, so you're going to have to understand those conversions when we get there. So individually right now, which you are at home, I want you to write down what you think these abbreviations mean. There you go. You got them correct. All of you, 100%. Whoa! All right, we're going to skip through that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to show you the assignment that you're going to submit. It is called Cooking Terms and Abbreviations. So I want you to go through with reliable sources online and look up these right here. These are the top cooking terms that you will see. You can simply just add the definition in here. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Or you can manipulate it however you choose to, because again, it's going to make a copy for you anyways. Fill in the blanks right here, abbreviations. I gave you some, and I want you just to finish them. These are equivalents. So example, I gave you some of the answers to it. So a few grains or a pinch is equivalent to a half or an eighth of a teaspoon. And then 12 tablespoons is equivalent to 3/4 of a cup. So understanding and knowing these is going to make you a faster, but also a more efficient cook in the kitchen. Once you finish those, the last part that I want you to do is practice some of these things. So we're going to practice halving and doubling our blueberry muffins right here, which you can get, where'd it go? Never mind. Okay, sorry. So you're going to go through that, and then reading through the recipe, there's going to be some questions that go with it. So what utensils do you need for this recipe? The first steps, any cooking terms that you might see, okay? So just answer those questions, complete this page, pages 1 through 3, and this is your lesson 2 for this week. Thursday this week, I want you to start thinking about what you want to start cooking. So the plan for this week, Thursday, is baking of some sort. If you want to actually use this blueberry muffin recipe on the bottom, it's a legit recipe, you can do that, or you can just do something that you have at home. If you can't cook on Thursday, then you'll just be doing a lab makeup article. So I'll get that to you also.